Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is Breakfast Daily. Now it's time for our community development segment. And today we are talking fishing. Fishing in the sense that it's a closed season for fishing. And we want to see how, what it means to be a closed season for fishing and how the fishermen feel about this. And we actually have a report on this. So when we watch this report and come back, we'll be talking about it. So enjoy the report.
The sector minister, Mavis Hawakumson, has announced the introduction of an alternative livelihood training program to assist over 1,000 fishermen in selected coastal communities across the country. The program aims to provide support and training to enable fishermen to generate income from other sources during the closed season. The ministry acknowledges that this initiative aims to compensate for the 1 month period when these fishermen would not be engaged in fishing activities. In the past, fishermen have expressed their dissatisfaction with the lack of support during the closed season, which has prompted the youth to explore other avenues. The closed season, according to the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, is scheduled to commence from the 1st to 31st of July for artisanal canoes and inshore vessels. For trawlers, the closed season starts from the 1st of July and extends to the 31st of August 2023. Here is the minister, Mavis Hawakumson, speaking after officially declaring the closed season at the Elmina Fishing Harbour.
Government is fully aware of the short-term economic impact of the closed fishing season on fishers and processors. The ministry will therefore continue to provide relief items in the form of rice and cooking oil to support fishers and fish processors during the closure period. As a way of reducing pressure on the fishers, on the fisheries resources, the ministry and its partners, including the Ghana Fisheries Recovery Activity, has launched the alternative livelihood training support for the fishers, starting with 1,350 fishers in masonry, carpentry, dressmaking, hairdressing, electronics, and auto engineering, among others, in selected communities along the coast. This training will be scaled up to cover 8,350 fishers. And after the training, trainees will be supported to set up to ensure that they can earn incomes from their trade.
The minister has emphasized that security agencies will be deployed to ensure compliance along the coast and offenders will be prosecuted when caught.
I wish to inform you that the various mandated enforcement authorities will commence full surveillance and enforcement activities to ensure compliance to the closed fishing season, and offenders will be prosecuted accordingly. I therefore humble appeal to fishers to desist from fishing and comply with the closure.
Some industry players hope that the ministry will address other issues affecting the sector in addition to the closed season.
It has come to the attention of the industry that the EMS equipment on the vessels are unable to capture objects approaching vessels. If it is true, then the ministry must have to relook at the EMS equipment again to prevent piracy at sea. Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to highlight some concerns of JITA regarding past and recent negative publications by some local NGOs and individuals in academia targeted at the trawl industry. These invalidated publications are destroying the business of our member companies and also hampering efforts of the government and industry towards convincing the European Union to withdraw the yellow card issued to Ghana.
the premises for the fishermen. But the real fishermen don't get the premise. They got other people before they get to the fishermen. So this is the one challenge that we have. Because of they don't get the right. They sell a different price for them. All of that, when they come, they increase the price of the fish. Instead of maybe 1 pound of fish, 1,500. Cost of the petrol, the price go up. So this is the one challenge we have about the fish and the price of the fish.
Nana Kojo Kondria, Tomanghini of Edna Traditional Council, suggests that the ministry considers establishing a fisheries bank to provide loans and support to local fishermen for expanding their businesses.
My disciple papa, our minister no do. That much tax rad. I'm sure. A conibiana. What about the other? What about share? Minim that ministry no. Ane yejanum agri can one year juma. Now the walokawa ibia will put you a free cow. Now I kafa. One shut down says kafa to over there. More America GB. Until much tax minister, Mesrad. One more day now won't bear. Local bank ibia what bank tunqua for but anu papa man ko fusi adwuma yan be no we wi school 1 year adwuma wa kwaran set aba won chan de biala say about to 10 cedis about to 20 we sika no nya da be dan abayoda because aban teyechila olejigis kan odesie odam wan masiraw minister bo maden dada meyidi abeda mam.
Several fishermen shared their insight on the close season and offered suggestions for government support.
After women say, "Yanda mano bias." This year, I got a generator no more than 40 million machine. And more in the photo, Nanka so what you bet na hana watch a man from you. And catch of what you take a year. I could debo take a year, putting an castle woman. And so we're telling company, Funananga Sanka, we binum, no about Shan. I see Angasa, what ye machine baby see, they move away and for phone. Machine would baby seen, and then we would 40 behind Yabi. Why actual, why you cuckoo? A behind Yabi. Since I would buy with the shell was his yala, a barne, Yamana poor body. I know what on put on, so I am froffle, and catchful, and to near many bins, Ulu put on water on connection on Junior. Nipakono word you imagine, all the Toyam and Yaman on journal.
Yeah, what I'm paying for you, baby, what you're doing. It's an interperson, now, young can you uncle? Not a Busma or your goon. I have some papa and you're not for your coping papa bad at uncle. Another that can be 2 years Blake. Yeah, you're man.
And there we have it. That's the report. For me, I think it's not a bad initiative. It's not a bad thing.
Not
you
at
understand?
all.
Because obviously it's a very good way for the fishes to rest, and even biologically, you know, everything down there should rest, and you know.
So basically, the close season is the biological rest period for fish.
Exactly.
This is where you allow the fish to spawn. There's a period where they get to lay their eggs and then they get to breed. It's where so you reduce pressure on the fish when you are not going to sea to engage in fishing activities during the period. So this year, basically what we know is that, I mean, the minister launched it on July 1, that's past Saturday. It's supposed to end on August 1. But you see, this is for inshore and canoe fishermen. For the industrial trawlers, theirs will go beyond August 1. Theirs will go until August 31 because they are heavy-duty fishermen. Exactly. They go into the deep ends. They go for the big fishes. So they need more time for the fish to lay their eggs and to grow. But the thing, as with all other government policies, is the intention good, mode of implementation always has a question mark.
Always shaky.
Yes, always has a question mark. Have we done the study? And you see, when we hear them speak like this, we expect them to put out some data to back up because we've been doing this since 2016.
True.
Since 2016, they've not put out any figures to show that before the break, this was the stock we had. And after the break, this is the stock. You won't be able to go into the sea to count the number of fishes.
I was going to ask you that. Like, do we have that technology? Do we have those people?
You can gauge that based on the catch you make.
Yes.
So what level of aggregation have we made with respect to the catch the fisherfolk make, as in quantity and size?
But if you say that, that means it's time for them to keep to be keeping data of you know, what the fishermen get or people that are always fishing get. And it's, I don't want to say it's impossible to do that, but do they have the people to do that?
No, I mean, you can gather the data. I mean, how many, London beaches do we have?
True.
You get, so you can get, I mean, without data, all this thing we're doing is actually zero. Because you see, you need to gauge the success story of the policy you are implementing. So if you are not gathering any data to gauge the success of it, then really what is it that
Especially
you're doing?
for the fact that this is not the first time. They've been doing it for a while.
Since 2016.
Yeah. So
and
yes,
this
I
is
agree.
People's livelihoods, people's way of life. They are fisher folk. We heard the minister asking them to learn a trade or something else. It was within a period of one month. I've read elsewhere where she's promised to give them food. But how sustainable is this? Will you be able to give every single fishing household food for 1 month? You see, so that's what I'm saying, that it's really interesting how we're going about it. Are we just doing the usual typical sloganeering? We throw it out there, oh, close season has come, July to August, and we'll go to sleep. Or we're picking some data
while it's,
to really inform why it is important. I mean, it is basic, and it makes a lot of sense that we need to allow the fish to rest and grow.
And I also think the data would actually help the fishermen understand why this is always implemented every year. Because obviously they're a bit, I don't want to say they're ignorant, but they might be feeling, okay, this is our livelihood. What do you want us to do? Why are you doing this to us?
And before the introduction of close season, we were fishing all year round.
True.
We have our days we don't go to sea, but that may be customary or based on some traditional belief or something. But you have introduced a policy that stops us from fishing for one whole month. So you need to give us enough reason why you're doing this.
I get it. I get it.
Calvis is on the line. Calvis Tete, he's our Central Regional Correspondent. He was there during the launch of the close season, and so he's joining us to give us some more detail with respect to the 2023 close season. Good morning, Calvis.
Morning, Nana.
I trust you're well.
I'm very good now.
Great stuff, great stuff. So yes, the close season is underway, but then there are real challenges. Tell us first of all, what is the sentiment amongst the fisher folk in the Central region?
Well, Nana, sometime last week, over the weekend, the Sector Minister, Mavis Hawakumsing, launched the close season, which starts for a 1 month period. You know, but before that, he made mention that, you know, initially when they started the close season, he realized that there were a bit of a challenge from the fisher folk who were not happy with the process, that 1 month process. They didn't see the need for government or the ministry to say that they are going to lock up nobody should go for fishing for a period of 1 month, because, I mean, this has never happened before. But then again, year in, year out, they have gotten to understand that indeed there is a need for the fish stock to be given time to replenish. And so they are on the same level with the sector minister. Initially, there were some bit of a challenge here and there, but now they are saying that they're on the same level, and they believe that this is going to help them. It will also give them time to also mend their nets and do all those things that they need to prepare when the sea is open finally for them to go back to fishing. The minister also made mention that, I mean, they have been in talks with neighboring countries such as Ivory Coast, Togo, and as we speak now, the Ivory Coast has partnered Ghana to be doing this close season. They are hoping that Togo and Benin will follow suit, Nana.
Which is very important, because you wouldn't want to stop your local fisher folk from going to sea, but have fishermen from neighboring countries come into our waters, because we share territorial waters to fish here. How did she say, I mean, if she did, that this monitoring will be to ensure that we don't have neighboring fishermen coming into our territorial waters to fish during this close season? I know that previously there was some collaboration with the Ghana Navy. Does this still exist?
Well, Nana, the collaboration with the Ghana Navy is still existing. The minister indicated that that collaboration is still existing and that the Ghana Navy and those that matter have been put on guard. He warned the fisher folks not to go against that directive, and that anyone who is caught will be dealt with according to the law. She actually emphasized that this directive will be enforced. They wouldn't want to see the situation where some fisher folks will go for fishing, and then when it's time for the law to catch up with them, they go behind and see traditional authorities come and plead on their behalf. She actually emphasized on that directive well, and she's saying that this is also to ensure that the fish stock are given enough time to replenish. She believes that Ivory Coast joining this partnership is a good thing. She's hoping that Benin and all those countries that share territorial waters with Ghana will also follow suit. He believes that, this will also prevent the fisher folks from going to, for instance, Cote d'Ivoire to fish, once Ghana is not allowing them to do that. So it will cut across the communities, the countries that share boundary with us, Nana. She's of the view that this will help. And one other thing she also introduced was the fact that they were going to supply food. During the time when they declared the close season, there was a huge truck pack where they were going to distribute rice, among other things, to the fisher folks.
It's bags of rice.
Bags of rice. Bags of rice, where even the commander, Oman Hini, made mention that instead of the rice, they should also consider giving them gari, because these people are usually, they usually prepare the gari to the rice, that the rice wouldn't be enough to sustain them for the period. That she believes that when they give them gari, it will be enough to sustain them for the 1 month period. The sector minister also indicated that they are going to engage in a training session for fisher folks to sort of give them some work to be doing within that 1 month period, Nana.
Right, so that's alternative livelihoods there and the provision of food. So more like she's prefers two solutions to the unemployment situation that will be created during this 1 month period. This is fine, but there are over 187 coastal communities in the country. Do we know of a plan for these communities? I mean, over 3 million livelihoods will be affected by the close season. Do we know of a plan to provide all of these 3 million livelihoods or individuals with some sustainable or alternative livelihoods during this period?
Well, Nana, she made mention that they have done their research and they are aware that there are lots of people, there are lots of fishing communities across the coast of this country, and so they are going to ensure that at least they get to each and every person in these coastal communities. They are going to ensure that there is food readily available to them, and then there is also some sort of training to equip them in the 1 month period. So she said that although there will be challenges, in the meantime, they are going to ensure that each and everyone is reached out to ensure that all the fisher folks are well catered for. Nana.
Right, Calvin, now let's deal with the fisher folk themselves, the fishing communities. Initially, when the close season was introduced in 2016, we saw the resentment, some level of resistance to it. It's been done since 2016. This is 2023. It's been launched again. How have the fisher folk received this? Have they bought into the idea or the reason why we need to have a close season, and have they welcomed it?
Well, I engaged the fisher folks during the launch of the close season. Initially there was a bit of a challenge. They didn't want to admit to the fact that they really needed a close season. They felt that the government was against them. The government was bent on destroying their job and all that. But after speaking to them over the weekend, you realize that that was earlier on, sometime in 2016, when they were strongly against this. Now most of them are for the move, and they believe that this will help them. There was an instance where a fisherman told me that, even after the close season, they have a lot of bumper harvest. It is even time that government needs to, I guess when the season ends, government needs to come back again, and then they actually witness what is going to happen for the whole world and the whole country to know that indeed the close season is important. This the fisherman belief will help. Make people understand the need for the close season.
Right. Calvin, I just wanted to ask, obviously this is a very good initiative, but do you know if there are any plans out there for capacity building and research especially for data? Because yes, the close season is great, but we need some sort of research and some sort of data to back this up.
Well, the sector minister again mentioned that, I mean, they are in partnership with some of the investors across the country who have given them enough data and enough research to show that this journey they are embarking on is scientifically proven that it will help the fisherfolk themselves. In terms of capacity building, he said over 1,800 fisherfolk in Elmina alone will be benefiting from some training in the sense that they will put some in dressmaking, among others, to ensure that within the 1 month period, they will get something to do, if not for nothing at all. By next year, by this time, when the close season is launched again, they will have some sort of handiwork to be doing for the 1 month period.
Good stuff, good stuff. But so back to the fisherfolk. I mean, now they've bought into the idea for a closed season. But in their industry, in their sector, there are real challenges. Top of this list is the issue of premixed fuel. What are the concerns you pick up when you talk to these fisherfolks, especially with respect to premixed fuel? That's one. And when they make these challenges, what suggestions come up as a solution to dealing with the challenges with respect to premixed fuel?
Well, the issue of premix came up during the launch of the close season, and the fisherfolk were actually not happy that the premix, when it comes to the fishing communities, are given to certain people who intend to sell it on connection basis. They believe that there should be a channel where the premix is given to, that any fisherman can just walk in and then get his premix. They lament that the premix issue is what is worrying them. They believe that before the close season ends, the ministry should find a way of dealing with this premix issue. Again, the issue of light fishing. They said light fishing is another challenge that they believe government should try and do something about light fishing. They are saying that light fishing is actually destroying the sea, and that it actually helps those big fishing trawlers to go to their advantage, but to the small fishing boats. I mean, they believe light fishing is not the best. That government should actually step up its fight against light fishing, Nana.
Then also there's the issue of illegal and unreported fishing, and then those who use the DDT for fishing. These concerns among the fisher folks within themselves, what do they hope to do about it? Because they really are the ones that engage in it, since they are inshore and canoe fishermen. The minister is not doing any direct or active fishing herself, but these fisher folks engage in these acts. So amongst themselves, how are they policing themselves to ensure that this act is stopped?
Well, Nana, in the fishing communities, I mean, there are formed units and small groups that go out there to actually fight this menace. But they believe the intervention of government, which is the bigger authority, would help in the sense that, I mean, government has a superior power. And when they bring military guys around and the Navy and all those things to actually stop these people who deal with this light fishing, among other stuff that is not helping them. I mean, they are doing their best, but they believe it's about time the sector comes in to ensure that this light fishing is actually stopped.
All right, Calvis, thank you so very much. And we believe that you still be monitoring this close season, and you'll get back to us as and when you have some updates. But we're grateful for your time this morning. Right.
Thank you, Nana.
Calvis Tete, our Central Regional Correspondent there. He was there during the launch. He lives in the coastal community, and so, I mean, he interacts with the fisherfolk on a daily. And so genuine concerns raised there. But I mean, what excites me is the fact that now the fisherfolk have really bought into the idea. Like I said, great policy. Very fine policy, but usually the challenge is with the implementation. And then we need the science behind it. We need scientific evidence to show that for the past 7 years or more, that we've been doing this, these are the clear results, and this is the reason why we need to continue with this policy.
Yeah, but Calvin just said that the minister said that they've been working with some people from the university, you understand, you know? But it's not just about working with them, but it's about also putting out the data out there for the public to know.
If you shelve the data, I mean, it's of no use.
Exactly. So why is it data?
Yeah, I mean, it may be, I mean, informing your policy directions and everything, which is perfect. But we need to know why you're making this move, why you're taking this step. And it's great. Now, I've chanced on some information that says there was a biological survey conducted in 2022, which indicates that the canoe landings were higher after the closure period than before the closure. And the results also revealed that bigger fishes were caught in 2022 than in 2021. This is what I am talking about. This is good. Put out the data
out there.
This is what you should be preaching to the people down there and, of course, to the rest of the public. Because, you see, they are the fisher folks. They are engaged in the activity. But we are the consuming public. True, you get it? True. So if I go to the market and I'm not getting that mala I want, and I ask and I'm told that there's closed season, so this is old stock we are selling to you. Or my grandma somewhere wants fresh fish. She buys from the seashore. Always, she goes there and there's no fish and tell her that there's closed season. She would want to know why.
Yeah, she won't understand.
Exactly. She would want to know why there's a closed season, why she's not getting that fresh fish from the seashore that she always gets. So it's important that we put out the data. It's not enough to do your research and keep it to yourself.
Right.
We should be armed with the information.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, I just also got an information here. The Accra report, I mean, the fishermen are actually worried about the alternative livelihood. And that also is what I'm a bit worried about. Because, like, I'm not interested in carpentry, but you want me to, you know, start carpentry. How would that work?
So you see, like I'm saying, it goes back to the data issue I'm talking about. If the data is put out there and now we are convinced that really this is the results we are getting, then we also know that next year by July we're going to a closed season. So between now and next year, I prepare for that 1 month period. And so if carpentry is not my thing, I am prepared.
I'm already prepared.
Exactly.
Anyway, we actually have a report on it. So let us just check out this report and we'll be back to continue this discussion.
The closed fishing season was implemented by the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture in 2015 as a measure to recover fishing stock and ensure the sustainable management of fisheries resources. This year, the closed season for canoe and inshore fishers will take place from 1st to 31st July, while industrial trawlers will have their closed season from 1st July to 31st August. The closed season strategy has received commendation from various fishing associations, including the National Fisheries Association of Ghana, the Ghana National Canoe Fishermen Council, the Ghana Inshore Fisheries Association, the Ghana Industrial Trawlers Association, and the National Association of Fish Processors and Traders. However, a visit to the Jamestown Fishing Harbour highlighted the disheartenment of some fishermen towards the policy. They believe there are no alternative sources of income available to them during the closed season, leading to their current concern. One fisherman named Robert Nete, who has been fishing for over 45 years, expressed his worry about the negative impact the closed season will have on his livelihood.
Greater Accra me got a western bay I mean shipon I mean few farming uti central I mean few farming uti voter she a gun niji Greater Accra shipon baby any wolen you nan and show by near fee farming in Nujimoko ben work as what to shift a well known where get your big be and watch on.
Nete also urged the government to put in place stringent mechanisms to address illegal, unregulated and unreported fishing practices which negatively affect fishing in the country.
Skagbe no many feel ni be fungi e ka me feel no won pam la lo e fai ko ni many feel na ka ma ja ni be fungi ni ndo wo lo e ba ni kwa shimene process ni mu e ba te wo shine amodi na ka me aye ni mla atu egbe na ko ni ke ma ja ni bi ne fen aya se ko ni insure lo aba me ko ni blame abon wo le bon ni ke otewu na lo e kuni wona wolu pepepe kuni won shoju ba ke wule me ya ke wo ya
Other fisher folks share their grievances about the close season, stating that it brings unbearable hardships to them.
Because 1 month 2 days to material nigga mune pe polenti nana ba pi because pa go mbi le un yasku we fait mun nana ba kata 1 month we fait mun la ka mo e ba mi ya ga jala ka wona ke wa ke shikeji wongbe na fi aba jie na ka ilika fishing non wo fi wongbe na fi shaguni na fi ataguni na ga ni bi ajie mo ba no
ona ni ke zizi mine na ngwe show mi ke fe gba wona fi o sani ke fi ngwe mi ke egbe mtumo ke atumo blow nyame alo onmishi oni ke time ne ngwe show mi egba me kuma na shi won be ne ega ngwe show mi enwo wona ga ngwe show mi naga na uni lo enye fe mi ne nye shi ko ni won onye ka fe mi ko na ko ka wo fi jam shi ne ke time ne ko le ngwe show mo ko ne ke chun no ko e ko onmishi enye adum ko nya ga o nye mi amine ke on mi no bene balé me kumele un fio mi to bene me show mi ke anye juwe ma mi a un ke son ya ga mo ko ne ke wo ya e kule ke na mo ko no ko ba ko.
As the closed fishing season approaches, it is evident that measures need to be taken to support the affected fishermen during this period and to address their concerns regarding the sustainability of their livelihoods.
All right, so these are genuine concerns by the fisherfolk with respect to the alternative livelihoods they have to engage in during the close season. We'd like to hear from one. Ni Ajete Mato is a chief fisherman, and he's joining us via telephone. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Ni, I trust you're well.
Thank you.
Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. So the close season is on. How have you been faring so far?
Okay, we are expecting our country to come and tell something about the fishermen. Why? Because if something like this happens, you know, most of the fishermen, they don't have nothing except the fishing going. So their living is very difficult. And then some of them, they become the stolen people, their things, their fishermen, their items. And then if the women, they were cooking on the fire top, they took their cook, their food, it's a very problem. So, you know, we would like to June, then they shift the closing season to June. Why? Because the June is a rainy season.
Okay.
You know, it's rainy season, so we can use that rainy season to repair our net. And it's just July like this, then the fish started to flow.
Okay.
So July like this, then we start the fishing. But if still it will be on June, it will affect all the fishermen. So we are appealing to the Minister of Accounting so that if the next academic year it will happen the same, they have to shift it to June so that everything will be very clear for the fishermen.
Right. Have you had the opportunity to engage the minister on this? I mean, the timeline for the close season, as you have suggested that it be moved to June. Have you had the opportunity to engage the minister on this?
Okay, of course. We have opportunity to start with him to go into it. Why? Because we are the fishermen. And the fishermen, so what worried the fishermen? We have to provoke it.
True.
You see, if they can keep it in their heart, telling we the key fishermen, we can't do anything except the authority from the best. Because there's the law, nobody is above the law. We are on the law. So we have to organize to meet the minister to tell him what we need to do.
So yes. During this 1 month period, what would you be doing to survive?
Oh, this 1 month, in fact, if it comes like this, the whole 1 month, you know, all the fishermen, they are solved their problems is within you, the canoe owner. You know, but if last year like this, our Kumsin, she came down and gave us rice, oil to support the fishermen. But now we have learned that it started from Takrady up down to coming. So we believe that by all means we may have some to organize the fishermen to divide or share for them. So we are thinking of this. But our support is the little one that is back, whereby we have kept or we are kept down. We have to call them to give them a little money so that they can use it for their future up to our month.
Okay. The rice and gari that is provided to you, is it usually enough for the 1 month period?
Oh, no. But, you know, it's something like if it is not enough. But actually, it has come like that, so we have to take it through. Only the rice, there's no gari.
Okay.
Rice and the oil.
Okay.
Yes.
And also the minister was talking about, you know, alternative livelihood. Maybe you people learning to do other things like carpentry, like hairdressing and other stuff. What do you think about this?
Oh, it's fair enough, because if like how the closing season happened is, if you are a woman or a carpenter or social working at the canoe beach, if you go and learn it more, that can solve your problem. If the closing season happens, you can do a little job at home. That one will be better than you sit down doing nothing, don't learn anything. It can affect you. So that is very, very, very good.
Okay.
All right, Nii. Thank you so
much.
very much.
Thank you.
Great stuff.
And I want you to thank our Kumsin for the good job that she has done for we, the chief fishermen and the fishermen. And also, sometime this year, our Kumsin come down to Tama because of the premise fuel. It started from 6 o'clock a.m. Up to 8 o'clock p.m.
Right.
Taking good care of the fishermen to have the premise. And all the fishermen, they have it. Congratulations for our Kumsin for the work that is done in Tampa. So you may thank our Kumsin for what he has done for the Tampa.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Nii Ajiete Mator is a chief fisherman, and well, he just joined us with his thoughts on the cruise season.
Yeah. So, well, you can see that they understand what the close season is all about. But I think the government should have had that conversation with them, you know, because he's saying in July. It doesn't work because that's when, you know, when the fishes come plenty and then the sea rises and all that, you know, it's like their harvest, it's like their cocoa season, you know. So I feel like they should have had that conversation with them, because even farmers know when each crop blooms. Right. You understand? Exactly. So it should have been, you know, well thought of.
Clearly, I'm sure there must have been that engagement, but then also there is some signs, some data backing the decision to close the sea in June. So let's find out. We're joined by a senior lecturer at the Department of Fisheries and Aquaculture, Dr. Ochiri. He's joining us via Zoom. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Grateful to you for joining us this morning. So close season has started. Can you give us just a brief background as to why we're having the close season? We started this just around 2016. Prior to that, we've been fishing since time immemorial. So give us some data as to why now it is important to have this close season.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Maybe first of all, let me just clarify that our department is the Department of Fisheries and Aquatic Sciences.
And Aquatic Sciences,
and
okay.
We also have a center through which we do our outreach, and that is the Center for Coastal Management. So.
Right.
Now, to address the substantive issue, when we were kids, we heard that sea never dries, right?
Yeah.
So it essentially meant we could fetch, as much water we want from the sea, fish as much fish we want to catch from the sea, and there will still be enough and sufficient, water and fish. But over time, lessons have taught us that that is not the case, right? So we used to get a lot of fish coming 1960s, 70s, when we were increasing effort, right? More and more boats going into the sea. And from 1990s, we began realizing that our catch trend was declining, essentially meaning that the quantity of fish in the sea was getting finished. And if we don't do in anything, a time will come when our stocks will collapse, essentially meaning we wouldn't have fish again. This was not found only from science and data perspectives. That the fishermen themselves also started complaining that they don't get catch, they borrow, and they buy fuel. They go and they make losses. Yes, fishers have begun getting indebted, etc. So this is what actually necessitated the implementation of some measures in order to avert the situation. So that is the background.
Right, great stuff. But how have we done so far since 2016? Is there a success story we can put out there?
Yes. So to put on the record for our artisanal fishers, so our fathers and mothers who use canoes, etc., to fish. The first closure was done in 2019. The first attempt was actually in 2018, but then there were press conferences upon press conferences and high resistance from fishers. So the government abrogated that and then implemented it in 2019. Okay. 2020, due to COVID, we didn't close. Okay. And then we closed in 2021. And then 2022. So this year is the fourth.
The fourth.
But then
this is for artisanal and canoe fishermen.
Yes. What is being closed is for both the artisanal.
Yes, but I mean the dates you've given us.
Yeah. Okay. So let me put on record. It's for both the industrial and the artisanal.
Okay.
Except that the industrials started way back in 2016, as you said. But at that time, artisanals didn't join. Okay, the artisanals joined in 2019.
So it means the industrial has done, what, 7 years, and artisanal has done 4 years?
4 years, exactly. Right, quite much longer.
Right.
Yes. And what is happening now is that still the industrials have been closed for 2 months. So they are starting from 1st July and then ending 30th August.
Okay.
Whilst the artisanals are doing 1 month, 1 month. And I heard the plea from the chief fisherman that the government should consider implementing in June.
Yes.
Right? I think this debate has been on and on. So you remember the first one in 2019. It was not implemented in July. It was in June.
Okay.
Right? And then later it was moved to July. It's also because we don't just catch fish in the sea in abundance for just catching sake. Something drives, oceanographically drives the amount of fish that comes into the sea in the period that we call the bumper season, right? So the June, July, August. There's a phenomenon called upwelling. So upwelling essentially means the water beneath or on the seabed or beneath the surface turns up. So the water topples, and then the water beneath comes up, and the one at the surface goes down. And when the one beneath comes up, it brings a lot of nutrients. The nutrients hoarded beneath. So because of that, a lot of fish also come to the shore. To come and feed. And then doing that, that's also the process. Because of the abundance of food, they also reproduce.
Right.
And research since 1970s to date have shown that the upwelling occurs from July to September. So it actually occurs within a period of 3 months, with the peak in August, right? So the actual scientifically proposed period for the close season is from July to September.
Okay.
But then you see, this is because of this upwelling phenomenon and the breeding, the reproduction. So fishers also tend to catch a lot of fish. And unfortunately, that is when we also catch a lot of fish that are pregnant in quotes. So that are carrying a lot of eggs that are going to reproduce to replenish the stock, right? So we are hoping that perhaps over time we could even move from July to August to September. But this is a matter of science and governance here, right? There is some
yes.
economic implications for fishers, etc. And that is the reason for which, for now, since last 2 years, the implementation has been in July, and then for the industrial up to the end of August, right?
Right.
So the period within which we close should also be informed by what we want to achieve. If we want to protect the pregnant ones so that they can reproduce to replenish the stock, then it must be done at the appropriate time.
Right.
I perfectly understand the social economic predicaments of the fishermen during this season. Yeah, I perfectly do.
Right. Understood. But Doc, from where you sit as a scientist, how important is this close season?
Yeah, okay. So it is just as asking that someone is sick and the person goes for treatment, and you ask how important is this treatment, right?
Okay.
So there is just a fundamental principle in natural resource conservation. Okay. The principle is that for every single day that human being keeps off natural resource, the natural resource gets the opportunity to replenish itself. Okay. So if we don't go to the forest for a day, a week, a month, the forest gets the opportunity to replenish itself. The moment we go there, we exploit. Right. So it's the same also with the fish in the sea. For every single day a human being keeps off, the fish gets the opportunity to replenish itself. Right. So, our forefathers in their own wisdom introduced Tuesdays as non-fishing days. Yes. Right? It was for widows in natural resource conservation. It was a very important measure, despite the fact that it is linked with some cultural and spiritual backgrounds. It is a very perfect way of conserving natural resource. So what our forefathers did is just essentially what is being done now, except that instead of one day in a week, that is the Tuesday, this time it's extended to a period of one month. And instead of being every Tuesday in the year, this time it targets the period at which the fish are reproducing. Thank you.
Right. Doc, I just want to ask, apart from the closed fishing season, are there other strategies that can promote sustainability in the fishing sector?
Yes, sure. So we have a number of them. We have closed season, we have closed areas, we have size limits, we have subsidies, and etc. They are all mechanisms by which we can regulate the resource. So for now, what we are doing is we close the season, but then immediately we open. Fishers still go with a small mesh, right, to go and harvest the fish. So essentially, we more or less zero our gains, okay? Because the newly born fish must get the chance to also live and reproduce. Yeah. Yes. So we need to introduce mesh size restrictions as well. I mean, defining the mesh size. In fact, the law has already defined them, except that fishers still use the very small mesh to go and catch that. But then over time, we could also introduce size limits that you cannot catch a fish that is smaller than the size. And then as we mature, we could introduce catch quotas, right? So if you go to the US and other countries, you cannot catch fish infinitely. I mean, a quota is defined. So you fisherman, hey, you can catch X tons of fish per year. Yeah. Okay. If you decide to catch all in the first month of the year, so be it. If you decide to divide into 10 and then catch 1/10 in each month, right? Then you are going to catch over 10 months. Right. And then you may decide to actually catch half and then sell the remaining half to someone else to also catch. That is the transferable quotas. It's also there, right? So that we know that we have 30 tons of fish in the sea. This year, we want to catch only 20 tons. So 20 tons, we are dividing it by the 100,000 fishermen that we have. So each fisherman can catch this amount, right? And the moment you catch that, you are done. So these are all measures, I believe, as we progress. and fishers come to appreciate the need for these measures may be introduced.
Right. Very interested. I'm fascinated with all the measures you've proposed. But I'd like to find out, I mean, with the ministry representing government, you, academia, what are the levels of engagement between the two of you so that we can have some of these beautiful suggestions you've made being implemented to protect and also to conserve?
Well, so in the past, there was quite a gap, but let me say for the past roughly 5, 6 years now, the engagement has been close. Through some donor-funded projects, the scientific and technical working group was established, right? So it's a group made up of academics, industry players, fishermen, representatives of fisher associations, the government, NGOs, all of them being parts, and then they all come together to take the data available, analyze, and then make the recommendations to the government. Over time, the STWG, that is the Scientific and Technical Working Group, has metamorphosed into the Scientific and Technical Committee, STC, and has been adopted by the government as an advisory group. So academics are highly integrated in there.
Right, that's great stuff. And so close season is here. I mean, it's a policy we are implementing. Is there a way from where you sit and how you observe it, we can improve upon this?
Yes, so we can improve upon this by first of all having sufficient data on fishermen, right? So the question of who is a fisherman,
right,
has come over and over again. That's
exactly.
Today, if we want to give some interventions, who is the fisherman to give the intervention to? Okay, because if you enter the industry, you realize that there is a boat owner, right? Someone who owns a boat, a canoe, and the person has employed a crew. Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes the boat owner himself is not even a fisherman. He's an academic, a banker somewhere.
Very true.
Okay, but you know the boats have been registered now. The government has taken steps to do boat canoe registration.
Okay.
So the canoes have been registered, and the ownership is known.
Okay.
So when certain interventions are coming, you see that the vessel owners, that is the canoe owners, saying they are those who own the canoe, who have employed the crew, and the intervention should come to them. Yet some may not be fishermen, right? They may be academics, like I sit here and I have a boat or something. So that the data on the crew, who is actually a fisherman, that when we have some interventions, we don't just go and then make it like open distribution. Okay. You see, aside that we get to a landing beach and many people rise there. You take 5 kilograms of rice, etc., etc. And then the one who gets it, people are complaining that those who are getting those interventions, some of them are not fishermen, and the actual fishermen are getting less than the others are getting. We need that. We also need to actually find out. It has been very difficult trying to figure out what can a fisherman do beyond fishing, right? Several interventions trying to train fishers on alternative livelihoods have not worked. It would look like the fisherman culturally is born into this trade, and that is all they want to do. If we are able to find alternatives, then during the closure, the fishers could do something else that may even end up being more lucrative. I have once suggested to the leadership of the Ghana Canoe Fishermen Council that you know one thing that we are not actually doing in Ghana as a country is trying to have ecotourism, right, on the sea.
Okay.
Yes, I believe that there are hundreds and thousands of Ghanaians who have not been on the sea before and may want an opportunity to be on the sea for just 30 minutes or an hour.
Right.
You know, Australia, they have the James Cook cruise vessel, right, for to tour right in the inshore water. So I go there, I pay $100. I sit on the vessel, they move me around. This is Australia. James Cook came here in 18 something and blah 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 blah. 30 minutes, 40 minutes, you are back.
Right.
Yes, and you are paid $100. Our fishermen are very experienced to navigate a vessel and etc. Can we look at exploring this during the period where we have closed? Right, I mean, but there can be this opportunity, and I believe fishers may even end up making more money than how much fish they go to catch.
Right.
So these are all the opportunities we have to explore.
Right. Doc, thank you so very much.
Thank you so much,
very,
Doc.
very insightful. We're grateful to you this morning for that eye-opening contribution to the discussion on the close season. Very grateful. Dr. Isaac Ochre is a senior lecturer at the Department of Fisheries and Aquatic Sciences at the University of Cape Coast. Chris,
I think it was very insightful.
It settles it for me.
It settles it for me, and I just pray they are able to collaborate more. When they collaborate more, I think greater things can happen. And also, with everything he said, there's actually a possibility for more jobs.
Exactly.
More jobs in the system.
Perhaps we need to get out of our comfort zone, be more innovative, like he suggested, ecotourism. I mean, if there's a closed season, these fishermen have been going to sea for, we had the chief fisherman in Accra, he's done it for 45 years. He probably knows an interesting spot on the sea
everything
somewhere.
more than us, exactly. Exactly.
You get it.
And it will also be nice to hear it from someone who practically has lived on the sea.
Exactly, yeah. So, I mean, you just sit in a cruise ship or even a canoe. He takes you out to sea and then he tells you the various tales, the various experiences, the encounters they have on sea. And this is something they can be doing during this 1 month period. Say you're charging 50 cedis per ride out to sea and back. And you're getting, 100 people go with you or per ride, 50 by 100.
Yeah,
that's enough revenue. Like Doc said, they might even make more money
and
stop fishing.
Exactly. And so I also liked the strategies that he gave, the other strategies that he gave,
recommendations he made,
for protecting the ecosystem in the in the seas. I think they are very interesting, very interesting. I've never even heard about the net sizes before. I've never.
The mesh and all.
This is my first time actually hearing about net sizes. So that means we are not even supposed to be catching some fishes. Maybe we'll stop eating 1,000 very soon. If they ever implement the net sizes.
1,000, I'm suspicious. I don't think people set out to see deliberately to catch 1,000. Perhaps it's the net sizes. So 1,000 is just an extra you sweep away. While you are actually fishing for bigger fish.
And then he said, with the net sizes, that means we won't be able to catch small fish. So they can also be able to grow and reproduce.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
This felt like a lecture this morning.
It did, and it was an interesting one. I am excited about the fact that now he says there's more collaboration between industry, academia and government. There's more engagements. Now he says there's a technical committee that has been adopted by the government. I mean, they'll be making some of these recommendations, and hopefully with time, they are implemented. We have a better ecosystem our fish stock is protected. Our fisher folk get to engage in the activity they love and make revenue from.
Yeah,
and then
and
we all go home with smiles.
And it's also nice to hear, like, especially from the chief fisherman, that the minister is working. I mean, let's give it to her.
Yeah, she seems to be taking the right boxes with the fisher folk.
Exactly. She seems to be doing her thing right.
Which is good. Yeah. Which is good.
So kudos to her too. Yeah, so kudos to her. Anyway. So I guess that's it for the segment, right? All right, guys. Thank you for joining us on this segment.